Howdy again, it's Mr. Pete, your interweb shop teacher. Welcome back to the shop. And in this video, I'm going to showcase and talk about this beautiful green Bridgeport mill model made for me by James RESTAINO, who also made the aluminum colored one several years ago, and there are differences between the two. So I want to talk all about that, and thank you to James for doing a beautiful job on that. Make sure you watch the original video on this milling machine. 35,000 people watched it. That's pretty much like Wrigley Field filled to the brim with people, so that's quite a few views, I guess, and enjoyed it. So please watch the whole video, the other video, and leave a comment, not only to me, but to James if you value his craftsmanship. So let's get started. First, let me talk about the differences between these two machines. First of all, the head on this particular model is the variable speed head, whereas this is the J head that I have here in my shop. Also, my machine here in the shop, pardon me, has a 32-inch table, which is the scale that this model is made in. Notice that this table is longer. They made tables in 32, 36, 42-inch lengths, maybe others, I'm not really sure. Another difference is the color. So he painted this basically the same color as the machine I have here in my shop. It's not the exact shade, but it's about as close as you could get. About a year after he gave me this was 2020, he sent along a beautiful little Bridgeport vise, which I never did mount, but I also have a vise on this one, and he pre-mounted that for me, which I appreciate. Let's step over to my real mill and compare it. Here I am over at the full-size Bridgeport mill for comparison. Kind of a neat picture, I think. Now, since this table is 32 inches and this one is about 3.5 inches, that's about a 1:10 ratio. That is, the green model is about 1/10 the size of the actual Bridgeport. After I received this in perfect condition in the mail, I called James in New York and we talked for almost an hour. But in the previous conversation we had, he talked about how he made this, and he did not have blueprints. He simply scaled it off of the Bridgeport in his shop. So, for instance, he would take the measurement on the width of the table and reduce it by whatever little formula he had, and that's how he determined the width and the length and so on. So that must have been pretty darn tedious, and he has made 8 or 10 of these models over the years. Just imagine machining these tiny little dovetails, which you see here, 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 and here. And as if that wasn't enough, on the bottom of the machine, and I've shown this in the other video, there is a little trapdoor here, also with a dovetail, and in there are the various wrenches that would be used to make adjustments on the machine. In fact, he made this one almost 20 years ago when you think about it, but it was modified to give to me, that is, painted and tuned up and a few things like that. And this is his serial number 8. This may have been the last one that he built. Wouldn't it be neat if he would also make one with the M head? Several people suggested that. By loosening 4 little cap screws, 1, 2, and 2 on the other side, the entire turret, and sometimes these are called turret milling machines, can be turned around, because remember, you could buy a slotting attachment for this end. So that's why you would turn it around, although you might also turn it into different positions here so that you had more reach or I don't know what all. I don't think I've ever done that on my machine in all these years. And by loosening these two screws, there's a little rack and pinion in here, we can move the ram in and out. Now this motor is a dummy and we're not going to actually cut any metal with this, but you can see that many of the parts do move, just as on the real machine. And by loosening this screw just a little bit, the entire head can be knotted. It would be a nightmare to tram this little head in, wouldn't it? And finally, by loosening the 4 bolts right here, just like on the actual mill, we can tilt the head left and right. I don't think I've ever shown it, but sometimes the head is turned all the way at 90 degrees, and if you have enough table travel, you can use this machine as a lathe. I should do that sometime. Look at that tiny little drawbar. And of course the quill can move up and down. And obviously the table can be cranked in the X direction, the longitudinal direction, quite readily. And in the Y direction or the cross direction as well. And of course the knee can be cranked up and down. When James sent this one to me several years ago, it did not have a vise, so I started making a vise. So I got this far and got sidetracked. I didn't make the jaw or get it refined yet, but you get the idea. But it wasn't too long before I got a little package in the mail, and bam, there was a working vise. So I just quit on that. I should throw it away. I just haven't done so yet. I don't really like working in this small of a scale with my eyes and my shaky hands. But this is a project in itself, and I would challenge you people out there to make such a project. And that one's also marked 2020. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video where I showcase these beautiful models. Please leave comments. I'd like to see 500 comments on this video. And there's a bunch of still pictures at the end, so stay tuned for those, and stay tuned for many, many more videos that I have in the can, about 20 that will be released over the next few months. Some I would hope you would be interested in and watch. Well, this is Mr. Pete saying thanks to James, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Me hopes.